Today we are making cornbread. We're starting from a box, which may sound crazy, but it actually gives us a really good starting point to then customize it to make it the flavor that we like. For me, today I'm doing jalapeños. For you, you may not like jalapeños. You can do green chilies, you can add corn, whether it be cream corn or frozen corn or fresh off the cob corn. You can add, I don't know, bacon maybe. That sounds like a great option to me. And then you can add cheese or whatever else you think might be an interesting addition to the cornbread. This is just the starting point. So look how easy it is, and then customize it based on your tastes. Hope you enjoy. So we'll start with some corn muffin mix. I'm using Jiffy here. If you want to make this from scratch, you can. That's another area where you can invest a little bit more time if you want to get creative. I've already put some in the bowl. And then we're going to use half of a can of diced jalapeños. I'm too scared of a whole can, and so I'm just going to drizzle in whatever I think is a reasonable amount that I'm already getting a little worried, but all right. So about a half a can, and then a third of a cup of milk, and this is just straight from the directions on the back of the box. And then an egg. And that's essentially all there is to it. So now you stir it up, and then I'm going to pour it into a bowl. I've oiled it a little bit, but you can also do it as muffins. That's typically how people use the Jiffy mix. And when you mix it up, you don't want it to be too mixed up. You want to make sure that there's no dry stuff left. But beyond that, you don't want to overmix it. And then you just pour it into the bowl and let it bake. The oven's already preheating at 400 degrees, and so that's where it'll go next. So there you have it. You can see the jalapeños in there. Another option, if you don't like jalapeños or you don't want something spicy, you can use a half a can of cream corn, or what a lot of people do is they just double this. So they do 2 boxes, 2/3 a cup of milk, 2 eggs, and then they'll do a whole can of creamed corn. You can also use fresh corn or frozen corn. Everything that I've read says fresh corn is miles and miles ahead of the other options, which makes sense. But the goal here is really not to figure out the most complex, or this may sound terrible, even the best cornbread recipe you can possibly make. But really the goal is to figure out, how do we make something that's pretty good that's also quick? And so then here I will spread it around so it fills the bottom of the pan. The thing I like about this is that it's pretty easy to get 9 decent sized pieces of cornbread out of it. And I like having the big pieces that kind of crumble and fall apart as opposed to the muffins. But again, that's where your preference comes in. So hopefully this functions as a really good starting point for you in terms of taking a basic cornbread and then you adding your uniqueness to it so that it matches the flavors that you like best. Next, it goes in the oven, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. All right, so here it is out of the oven. It smells unbelievable. I'm not going to make you watch me eat it, but I am going to cut it here so we can get a sense of what it looks like now with these jalapeños mixed in. All right, so that's typically how I do it. I do it in a grid. The traditional way to cook it is in a cast iron skillet. So if that's your thing, feel free to do it. So you can see it separating here, and you can see the jalapeños throughout. That's exactly how I want my cornbread to be. I want it to be difficult to handle, and I want it to crumble. And then I'll put, the ideal would be put like a whipped honey butter on top of it. Regular butter and honey's fine too. But there you go. Hopefully that helps you spice up the regular boxed cornbread to be something that's quick, delicious, and really easy for you to throw together.